For today's class, we're going to continue the topic of vectors. Specifically, we're going to look at resolution of vectors. So if a resultant vector is a single vector that represents in magnitude and direction two or more other vectors, the resolution of vectors is splitting. So basically splitting a resultant vector into its components. So the reverse process of finding the vectors which have the same effect as the resultant vector is known as resolution of vectors. So today we'll be looking at the reverse process, okay? Finding two vectors. Usually these two vectors are called the components of the resultant vector, okay? And these two vectors can either be the x component and the y component. The formulas for finding the components of a vector are the x component. The x component is given is represented as Vx, v sub to x, and is equals to v cos theta, while the y component is Vy and is equals to v sin theta. Where do we get all these values from? Let's look at this diagram. We take v to be our vector, or the vector that we're trying to resolve into its components. So this vector, we're trying to resolve it into its components. Basically split. To resolve a resolution of vector is simply splitting, okay? So it's the opposite of combining, no? When we find the resultant of two, we combine. So the reverse is splitting this into its y and x components. Given this angle theta, so if we are to say cos theta, what's cos theta going to give us? Cos theta is going to be the adjacent, which in this case is Vx, over the hypotenuse, if you are looking at this triangle. Okay, so cos theta, remember, is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's Vx over V. So from cos theta, of course, then Vx will simply be, if you cross multiply or multiply both sides by V, Vx will become V cos theta. So Vx is simply the horizontal or x component of our original vector. Vy sin theta is equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Looking at this perpendicular, okay, looking at this, so this is from sin theta, opposite. This side is opposite and equal to Vy, so we're taking it as Vy over V. So Vy over V excuse me, from sin theta is equals to opposite over hypotenuse, we have Vy. If we cross multiply, V cross multiplies and comes here and multiplies sin theta. So Vy is equals to V sin theta. Vy is basically, in simple English, is the y or vertical component of our vector V. So vector V has been resolved or split into its vertical component and its horizontal component.